Hello and welcome back. This next video is going to show you how to draw the isometric view on this size B sheet of the chassis bracket. The last video I had created had shown how to actually draw the orthographic projection, and I had to stop short. I added to that the center lines in the front view. Now your instructions say that this orthographic, check that, the isometric view is going to start at this point 5 inches away from the right hand borderline, but 7 inches down from the top borderline in our working space. This object is not very thick, it is more narrow. So I'm going to measure over from this borderline 5 inches, and then I'm going to measure down from the top borderline 7 to get to that point right there. Now in this view, all of the lines that are not curved are going to fall on these 30-degree lines for the isometric. So as I start to draw this, I'm going to make some measurement here. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a line up to represent the height of this object. I'm going to measure up 1 inch. And then to find out how wide this is, I'm not going to look at the sketch. I'm actually going to measure my front view. And I know that this first line's 1 inch away, and there's 2 inches apart, and then there's 1 more inch. So I can measure every line right from the front view to draw my isometric view. So I'm going to make those measurements now on my isometric view. So I can measure off 1 inch and then 2 inches and then again those 4 inches. And now I can draw this front plane with confidence, knowing that I'm going to draw a light line there. But I can go ahead, and I'm going to darken lines as I go. I typically will draw the light lines first, but to save time in the video, I'll draw in these dark lines, representing those front plane, or that front plane. I can make the exact same measurements on the right side view. I know this overall thickness is 2 inches. I know this back part thickness is 1 inch. I can measure it right from this right side view. So I can make marks on my isometric. I can mark right on there for what those measurements are. I draw a line up this way and a line up that way. Now I'm going to go ahead and draw in this line here. And I'm going to lightly draw in the surface of this plane. And here's why I'm going to do this. And then I'm going to darken these lines. For the sake of my demonstration here, I need to make a mark here and here. And then this line is going to go back a distance of this measurement right up here. I can make this measurement here. This is 1/2 of an inch. So I can make that measurement along that light line I drew at 1/2 of an inch. I'm going to do a little erasing here just for the sake of this video, so hopefully it doesn't confuse you as far as the lines I'm drawing. I know that's a little bit messy, but I'm going to draw now a dark line here. I'm going to draw a light line down. And then this line is going to meet that one. I'm going to draw in these other dark lines just so that I represent and show how this drawing is coming together. I'm darkening this line here. This one lies behind here. These two on top like this. And then this one. So I've drawn in, I'm going to darken this line a little bit more, that front plane. Now, the most important part about drawing the ellipses, and the challenging part about this particular drawing, is drawing that large ellipse. But the most important part is finding the center. We don't have to count grids on this sketch anymore. Now we have the front view to trust. Because it was drawn correctly, I can measure over 2 inches and I can measure up a distance of 1 1/2 inch. So I'm going to measure over on this line to the 2-inch mark. I'm going to lightly draw a vertical line, and then I'm going to identify that at 1 1/2 inches. And there I'm going to draw, I'm going to do a little erasing here. You normally don't need to erase projection lines. I just want to make this pretty clear on how to draw this. So now with that mark that I measured, I'm going to draw a line across, and I'm going to darken this a little bit so you can see it in the video, that vertical line. Now the challenge is to draw the ellipse. Your ellipse template that was given to you, the very largest ellipse is 4 inches. And remember, we can measure that right here in the front view. We can measure that that width is 4 inches. We measure right from the front view. So the challenge is to rotate this in the proper direction. Well, we can check this rotation here with the sketch, and we really actually can rotate it in the same direction. So I would remove this bottom tape, slid a little bit, and I can slide this template underneath, and I can line that template up now with the lines that are on my drawing with the lines that are below. Now I'm going to go back just a minute. I should have done this a little bit sooner, but these lines that come off this edge are going to meet that 30-degree angle line, which represents horizontal. It's going to give me a little better idea of where my template is going to line up. And then once you get that template lined up, the very best you can, it's a little bit difficult to do, but once you get it lined up the very best you can, then what you'll do is you'll trace this line. This is where that freehand sketching technique comes into play. We practiced and practiced and practiced, getting as close as you possibly can. Okay? Now, so far so good. We've drawn that in. You can go ahead and draw in the other ellipse. Remember, the diameter was 1.5 inches. Again, we'll rotate that into view, and we'll be able to slide that under our paper and find the 1.5 inch ellipse. This takes a little bit of work. I know you can figure this out. I know you can do it. I have faith in you. It's hitting my my camera stand here, bending the paper. There we go. And then I can measure this, or I mean draw this line here. Little bit of work there, just like that. It's not the best, but we're really close. Now, to draw this second line, that second line has the exact same center. The only thing is that center now has moved back into the plane. Let me draw it in blue here. It's moved back into the plane. How far? Well, it's this far, from here to here. That is 1 inch. So it's moved back to this 1 inch part in that plane. We can do a couple of things here. We can lightly draw in this tangent line. We can lightly draw in this tangent line up here. And then we can lightly draw back and find the center. And then use our template again. This takes a little bit of work here. Little bit of work. So this line draws back to where it meets this vertical line in the back here, which identifies now this plane here. This line is not on our view, just lightly drew it in there just to get started. This line ends up not being on our plane, on our drawing either. I'm going to lightly draw in, like I said earlier. Hope this drawing fits. Right there. It does. I know it will. And then we're going to lightly draw this one back. Measure 1 inch. And then that's going to give us a line that we can use as a reference point for our ellipse to trace. So I've drawn in a new center point that's back into the plane, this thickness. Then I can slide this paper underneath here. Again, I'm sighting through the paper, looking underneath to find out where it all lines up. Oh boy, it just does. Look at that. I know you can't see that very well, but this line I can trace right down here, up here to that top, and then this line right here is going to meet as a tangent. Oops. Just like that. I'm going to freehand that little part in, give that a little bit of an erase. Now, typically, to draw these larger ellipses in class, we use this really cool ellipse template, and you have to line up the centers just like you see, just like you're doing on your paper underneath. You line up those ellipses to draw that 4-inch ellipse on there. Cool. All right. There is what the finished drawing should look like. Oops, let me take this piece of paper out. So with the orthographic projection as well as the isometric view. Don't forget to finish the time, the finish date, and the time. Okay? I'm going to write in the finish date is today. And this drawing took me 1 hour, 1 HR, and 0 M for minutes. And I'll fill in the period when I talk to you later. Thank you.